Hello, it's Ruby, and today I'm going to be telling you how I'm staying productive and motivated while studying remotely from home. If you didn't know, 6 weeks ago I moved back home from university because of coronavirus, and I have been studying entirely online since then. I've actually found it working really well, and I am managing to be productive and stay on top of things, and so I wanted to show you what I'm doing and what I think is helpful, so that if you are struggling with remote learning, you can take some of these tips and hopefully benefit more from distance learning. Today's video is also very kindly sponsored by Logitech. Okay, so first of all, lectures. Obviously everyone at university has their lectures online at the moment, and I don't know about you, but I actually much prefer online lectures. I enjoy the fact that you can watch them on double time and that it's a lot more flexible, so you can just pause it and go and do some research if you want to. You can pause it and go back if you didn't understand something, but it's also easy to procrastinate because you're obviously not in a lecture hall where you're held accountable. So the way that I've got around this is by making my lecture times really formal. Like, when I sit down to do a lecture, I've got to watch the whole lecture. I can't just watch part of it. And I try and watch the lectures at the same time every week and sit down and make it an event, because by giving it that level of formality, it kind of mirrors the formality of you going to a real one. And I find that I have less resistance to the lectures and I'm less likely to procrastinate. Okay, so next, seminars. I'd really recommend preparing for your seminars more extensively than you usually would. So looking at the seminar overview, which your lecturer should put up, and preparing some thoughts for each of the things that you're going to discuss. Now, Zoom calls can be so daunting, and I find that it can be harder to say something in a Zoom call than in a normal seminar. But it's a lot easier to say something if you've got something pre-prepared, if you've already thought about it, and so I'd really recommend doing this. And on that topic, turn your camera and your microphone on. Having my camera on, having my microphone on means that this seminar is my only concern. I know that I wouldn't be able to fully concentrate on a seminar if I didn't do this. It just keeps you accountable having your video on, and it better replicates what it's like in an actual seminar. So highly recommend this. Okay, so next, number 4. Obviously, one of the hardest things about working from home is that you're always in one space. Like, you're always in your bedroom, at your desk. When you're studying and when you're not studying, you're still in your home, and so you don't have that level of change that you would have if you were on campus and you were able to go between the library and go to your lecture and go to your seminar, because changing our environment helps to keep us stimulated and helps to keep us working productively. This is something worth trying to mirror, like trying to change up your study location if you can. So maybe working at your kitchen table. If you're in student accommodation, moving out of your bedroom and going to work in your shared kitchen, or even working on a sofa or your bed on your laptop. Just changing up your location a little bit can really help to keep your mind stimulated. And that brings me on to the sponsor of today's video, which is Logitech. This here is the Logitech MX Anywhere 3 mouse. And the really cool thing about this mouse is that it can be used anywhere. You can do work and be productive in multiple locations, so you can work on the sofa, so you can work at your desk, you can work at the kitchen table, you can work much more flexibly, and you can change your location easily without having to lug around a mouse pad and any other things. I have really loved using this mouse, and if you're working remotely and trying to switch up your location, this just makes it so easy to move between different areas. If you are interested to buy this mouse, then there will be a link in the description box. So number 5 kind of links in from that. If you are at university, if you are working in the library, you might be working alongside other people, whereas when you're working remotely, it's really easy for you to work completely by yourself. If you can, it can be really great to find someone you can study alongside. So my sister and I study together in the afternoons down at the kitchen table, and this just means that we have company and we can keep each other accountable and motivated. This could also be with housemates, flatmates, it could be a friend on a Zoom call, or it could even be your parents who are doing work and you could be studying at the same time. I also think it's so important to have a really nice productive study space that you can work in, where you've got everything you need, but it's also really aesthetic and clean and minimalist, so that you don't get distracted. Just a place that you enjoy being. I would really recommend making the most of your tutor's office hours. Your tutors will be happy to speak with you. It's really easy for these concerns to go unnoted when you're not seeing tutors in person. You can't ask those questions in person, so just don't shy away from using office hours. You might want to make a group chat with people in your seminar group, so that if you have any questions you can easily ask these and clear up these concerns too. I'd also recommend trying to put aside some time every week where you definitely don't do work. Like, this is scheduled time where you definitely will not work. This might be one whole day, it might be half a day, depending on what your schedule and timetable is looking like. But having that set time every week I think is important, because if it weren't locked down, you might be taking that time to go and see friends or do something outside of the house. But when you're inside the house, there's kind of a temptation to just keep on being productive and feel like you have to keep on doing things, when actually it's a different circumstance to usual. So really try and do that. I take Sunday afternoons off completely from work, for example. It's really, really useful to video call people on your course and study alongside them or talk through ideas with them. Blakely and I do one module the same, and we will call each other for like 8 hours every week to talk through key concepts and ideas and thoughts on what we've studied that week, and it is so useful for consolidation. This is the kind of thing that you naturally would get when you're leaving seminars and leaving lectures and you're talking with your peers. So if you can try and emulate that through actually scheduling Zoom calls, then that can be really helpful. I talk about timetables all the time, but of course it wouldn't be a study tips video for me if I didn't recommend making a timetable if you're not feeling motivated, just to keep yourself accountable. It gives you less choice to procrastinate, so you're more likely to actually keep to the set task if you've set those time constraints for yourself. Having a solid morning and night routine is important, just kind of emulating again what it would be like if you were at school or university normally. Wear something nice to give yourself motivation. Dress up in the kind of thing that you wear to university. Just kind of a way of telling yourself that what you're doing is important this day, means something important. I said this earlier in the year, but if you treat your day like it's worth something, it becomes something. And I really do believe that. So treat your day like it is an important day, even if it's just another day at home. And finally, I would recommend keeping a list of break ideas that you can come back to. I think it's really easy to get distracted when we're working from home because there are so many distractions and things that we can do all of the time. Like, I've been working this morning and I was like, oh, I really want to sort my wardrobe out. But I just added that to my break ideas. And when you want to take a break from studying, you can go and look through that break idea thing and do some of those things. Now, the really great thing about doing this is, in my experience, you tend to come up with more productive break ideas when you're studying and working hard than you would if you weren't working, if you came up with those things at a normal time. I think this is because when you're working, these seem easy in comparison to what you're doing. So sorting my wardrobe is easy in comparison to me writing an essay, but it might not be easy in comparison to me watching a film. This means that you can end up using your break time doing something more productive. Obviously, having productive breaks isn't really important, but when you're using them as study breaks, it is important. Satan says that it's easier for us to get back into our work if we have a quote-unquote productive break where we do something where we're not completely switching off, where we're still doing something remotely active. And having this list of things which you have at some point wanted to do and you were looking forward to doing is really great to kind of fall back on, and it can help you to keep you motivated more during the day. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful and that you can apply some of these tips. Thank you again to Logitech for sponsoring today's video, and I hope that you have a productive week.